found out that I was running for president, that's what they do. They try to cut.
All by yourself on this?
He's been on the road for 4 years. People won't look at that. What have you done on this?
Well, I think at the end of it for me is I can't really comment too much on that.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I was planning to vote. Like if I didn't have
but
to.
my thing is, when I talked to Sumner and she said, well, just give me the background. And I told her, I have 4 kids in the I mean, they're not at the school. I have advocated for special needs as my daughter was for special needs. I have 80 kids in my daycare, and I advocate for them with the school district. I started the diversity course with Spencer Kim's job as diversity officer, and so much more. The honorary diplomas for the kids who passed away. It's just a lot. So just to give you a little background, because I do have some things that I've done.
Yeah, no, I was honestly just not even. I was trying to plan on abstaining from all of them just because I haven't been
I'm
president.
asking you
I know, but
as somebody, not even as just as being whatever, just as a person who has done step 1 through 4 and has at least took the time to let you know things that I've done, because I feel like we have a strategic plan and this would follow suit of the strategic plan, and I need every vote that I can get. So I'm acting personally for that, for those reasons, not for any other reasons. Not because we both black or we both women, but just because I have that. And I would support you because I've seen what you have done and what you do in the schools and with the teams I've seen you coaching or whatever you have done. So I would look at it as like that more so than anything else.
You told me. Please switch lights.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Erie School District Reorganization Meeting. I will now call the meeting to order with the reading of the meeting notice. The Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Erie, PA will meet in the auditorium at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street on Wednesday, December 4th, 2019 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of perfecting an organization as prescribed by the school code. A president and a vice president are to be elected. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Alyssa Byler, Assistant Board Secretary, and then followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we're going to have a roll call of the seated board members. Mrs. Feeney? Here. Mrs. McNair? Here. Mr. Spagel?
Here.
Mr. Titus?
Here.
I'm now going to read the following statement from the Erie County Board of Elections dated November 25th, 2019. I, Tanya Fernandez, Election Supervisor for the Erie County Board of Elections, do hereby certify that the following is the number of votes cast in the City of Erie for the office of School Director in the City of Erie School District at the municipal general election held November 5th, 2019 in Erie County, Pennsylvania. John C. Harkins, 9,366 votes. Rosemary C. Sheridan, 9,228 votes. Sumner Nichols, 8,523 votes. Lori A. Pickens, 8,178 votes. And Gwendolyn Cooley, 7,709 votes. We are now going to have our newly elected and re-elected board member take the oath of office by order of their vote totals. Our first person to receive the oath is John C. Harkins. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, John C. Harkins,
having been elected to the office of School Director for the School District of the City of Erie, County of Erie, and State of Pennsylvania, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have the oath of office for Rosemary C. Sheridan administered by the Honorable Judge A. Joseph Weindorf.
You all set, Rose?
I'm all set.
I've probably given this oath, probably 5-10 times to public officials and to police officers, numerous police officers. And I've taken the oath at least 6 times, but the first time was as a police officer about 5 decades ago. And the second time was as judge, as a district judge, in front of Judge Giuliani. And you come to the part, and I was just looking at this, where it talks about defending the Constitution. I'm right in front of the judge. And if you knew Judge Giuliani, he always had a chaw mail pouch in his cheek. And I said, instead of defend, I said offend. And he stopped and he looked surprised. I thought he swallowed his tobacco. So I'll be very careful. And I'm very proud, too, of giving this oath tonight to Rose. Her dad was a dear friend. And when I became a policeman, Bob Sheridan was in charge of a lot of the beat men and what they called the cornermen. And he's one of the best policemen I knew, and a tremendous public servant. And I'm so happy to see his daughter picking up where he was years ago. Are you all set now?
Set.
I, Rosemary Sheridan,
I, Rosemary C. Sheridan,
having been elected to the office of School Director for the School District
for the School District
of the City of Erie, County of Erie, and State of Pennsylvania, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Congratulations, Rose.
I will now administer the oath of office to Mr. Sumner Nichols. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Sumner Nichols,
having been elected
having been elected
to the office of school director
to the office of school director
for the school district of the city of Erie,
for the school district of the city of Erie,
county of Erie,
county of Erie,
and state of Pennsylvania,
and state of Pennsylvania,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will now administer the oath of office to Lori A. Pickens. I, please state your name,
Lori A. Pickens,
having been elected
having been elected
to the office of school director
to the office of school director
for the school district of the city of Erie,
for the school district of the city of Erie,
county of Erie,
county of Erie,
and state of Pennsylvania,
and state of Pennsylvania,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and I will discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. Next, we will have the oath of office administered to Gwendolyn Cooley. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Gwendolyn Cooley,
having been elected
having been elected
to the office of school director
to the office of school director
for the school district of the city of Erie,
for the school district of the city of Erie,
county of Erie,
county of Erie,
and state of Pennsylvania,
and state of Pennsylvania,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties of my
the
office
duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now ask the board to please seat themselves behind the podium and just seat yourself at any open seat. At this time, we're going to have a roll call of the board in their entirety. Ms. Cooley?
Present.
Mrs. Feeney? Here. Mr. Harkins?
Here.
Mrs. McNair?
Here.
Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Ms. Pickens?
Here.
Ms. Sheridan? Here. Mr. Spagel?
Here.
Mr. Titus?
Here.
Nominations are now in order for the election of a temporary chair to preside over the election. Is there a motion to nominate?
Madam Secretary, I would like to nominate Mr. Spagel as our temporary chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I think I heard first from Mr. Spagel.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Titus. Are there any other nominations? May I have a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Mrs. Sheridan? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll now have a roll call to elect Mr. Spagel as temporary chair. Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Pickens?
Yes.
Ms. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Spagel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Okay, we'll now have Mr. Spagel assume the seat of the chair.
I would like to open up nominations that are now in order for the office of President of the Erie School Board.
Chair,
So,
I would like to nominate John C. Harkins for president.
okay. And second,
Second.
okay. Are there any other motions?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Angela McNair.
Is there a second?
A second.
Are there any other nominations? Going once, going twice? No? If there are no additional nominations, I would like to take a motion to close nominations.
I move that we close nominations.
Somebody second?
Second.
Motion to close? Very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, very good. We'll now have a roll call to elect either, at this point, Tim, let's just do a vote? Or do you want to
Mr.
do it-
Spagel, at this point, it is appropriate to do a roll call vote. The Robert's Rules of Orders state that the nominations are to be taken in the order in which they were received. You would take a vote on the nomination for Mr. Harkins. Should that then fail to receive a majority, you would then consider the nomination for Mrs. McNair.
Very good, thank you. We will now take a roll call to elect John Harkins as board president. Ms. Cooley?
Mr. Spagel,
Was there yours?
at this point, the secretary can take the roll call.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, got it? Read the script, read the script. Got it.
Ms. Cooley?
No.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Nichols? Ms. Pickens? Abstain. Ms. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Spagel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus? Abstention.
So at this point, we don't,
At this point, the chair has been elected, and you are to vacate that seat, and then Mr. Harkins would continue with the nominations for vice president.
Ms. Manuel's last.
Thank you, everyone. Now we'll consider nominations, elections of a vice president. Does anyone wish to nominate an individual for vice president of the board?
Mr. President,
Ms. Feeney?
I'd like to nominate Tyler Titus.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? No other nominations? Can we proceed to a roll call?
At this point, it would be appropriate to take a motion to close nominations.
I'll respect the solicitor's advice. Mr. Spagel has moved. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Cooley. Okay, all those in, well, I made the same mistake Tom did. Okay.
Ms. Cooley?
Actually, I believe now is the time for the voice vote to approve the motion to close the nominations, then we'll go to the roll call.
All those in favor of closing the nominations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nominations are closed. Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Cooley? Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Nichols? Ms. Pickens? Ms. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Okay, our agenda calls next for remarks from the president. I want to say a few things that might be helpful, and I don't want to take too long to do it, but we're certainly at a new point in school district history, and we welcome 4 new people of varied backgrounds and gender and ethnicity. They add to the mix. The process allows for the community to select 9 of us to serve in a role as policymakers. We are not legislators in the strict sense. We are not administrators. It's not our duty and our job to advance and advocate strongly for educational initiatives, although we can, but that primarily falls with the superintendent and his administration. The board picks a superintendent they have confidence in. He recommends staff and procedures and policies and programs. He brings to our attention when there is a need to be met and his intentions on how to meet it. We interact, we comment, we question, we massage that process, and ultimately we vote and approve after that such interaction to develop the policies of the school district, which we then expect the administration to carry out. So the role of a board member is unique. We have no power or authority except when we're assembled officially in a legal meeting like this one, and outside of that meeting, we have no authority whatsoever. But in this meeting, we as a board make the big decisions for the school district, and as I said, decisions come to us after a process in most cases that involves initiation by the superintendent and his staff. So the new board members and I'll wait a second on that, but that's basically our role. But the new board members and I will learn much more next week and be reminded next week when we are required by a new state law to travel to Grove City and spend a few hours to become oriented. And at that time, I think it'll help the new board members get a grasp for what their role is and isn't, and what to expect and how to operate effectively and efficiently. We have a board secretary whose job I think is among the most responsible jobs between Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Buffalo, in my opinion. It's very capably held by Angela Jones, who not only meets the responsibilities of her job, but she puts up with us 9 personalities very well. She's the most easygoing, pleasant person to work with, but she's also very competent and capable. I mention her because she's the go-to person for board members if they want information or advice. But things work most efficiently and effectively if board members want information. It works best if they go to her either by phone call or in person or email and make known to her what information they would request, whether it be a copy of the new teacher's contract or what our plan or policy is on any specific thing, or what a chain of command chart of job responsibilities is, any such thing like that. If a board member requests that of Angela, she knows where to get it, how to get it most efficiently, and knows who to contact. And it relieves the employees who have their work to do, who ought not to spend much of their day with us board members on their backs, in their presence, on the phone, keeping them from their duties. Certainly, we're not forbidden to talk to them, but the system works best when we hire people and turn them loose and expect them to do their jobs and allow them to do it. And when we work through our board secretary in her office to obtain information, and with all of her experience, she can give any new board member advice on how to conduct themselves or do anything they want to do. Certainly, the rest of us know very well that she's a gem in that way. So, in a nutshell, that's the role of the the secretary and the superintendent. We work with both, and when it works at its best, as it has very well recently, we get through some very difficult situations. My responsibility is to be somewhat of a guide or a traffic cop to keep things moving. In conjunction with the rules, the board's own rules, which you'll vote on at a first reading next week and the subsequent meeting, those rules in conjunction with Robert's rules are what we're guided by, and it's my role to enforce them in order to keep things moving in an orderly way and to make sure that everyone is heard and we conduct the business efficiently and everybody gets a fair chance under those rules to be express themselves and question and comment. We can deal with the specifics when the new board members are more familiar with them, but I encourage you to familiarize yourself with those rules and it'll help you learn how to operate in this arena. I also would say to the new board members, don't be shy or discouraged about asking any question whatsoever. No one expects you, we don't, and the public doesn't expect you to have all the answers right out of the gate. And any question would help. The questioning process helps us re-explain existing programs and plans, and it helps us justify continuing them. So that process of questioning and suggesting that the board's role is helps. So don't be shy or reluctant to ask any question. I'll stop there, but it's going to be an exciting time and an opportunity for us to lurch forward, although it'll take a little time for everyone to get familiar. And I could keep going, but I don't think there's a point in it. We'll have other chances for us to speak and interact. So now I'd call upon Tyler Titus, the board's new vice president, to make any comments that he would wish to make.
So when I ran for office, I ran not to give voice or to speak for anyone, but rather to create space for voices of others so that and grant space for those voices to be heard. And that's what I intend to continue to do in this capacity. I'm truly honored and humbled to serve the students, the teachers, and the family, and the community as a whole. And I just want to thank everybody for granting me this opportunity.
Any remarks from any of the other board members?
Mr. President.
Mr. Spiegel.
Once again, I'd like to welcome the new board members. We have a lot to go forward. Congratulations to Vice President and President. I think, John, you're the right man for the job, just because you have 40 years of experience. But besides that, you know what you're doing, and you've been somebody that I've used as a mentor throughout this process. So I appreciate you and your willingness to lead us. So thank you.
Mr. President, I would also like to welcome all of our board members. I want to congratulate you. I'm thoroughly looking forward to working with all of you. If you ever need any help or advice, we're here for you to mentor you, and please feel free. The door is always open. So welcome. You're a wonderful addition. Happy to have you.
Anyone else? Any other new
Mr.
member?
President, I just want to say congratulations to everybody who was sworn in today. And despite how the election went tonight, I think that we can still move forward as a board. Hopefully we can be progressive and strive to still continue to implement our strategic plan regardless of the situation. But I do respect everyone who became a part of our board on tonight, and hopefully you will get to know all of us and see where you can fit in and where we can support each other the way that we should support each other as board members and work together, not only amongst ourselves, but also with the community. And I appreciate everybody who showed up tonight to tonight's meeting to support whoever that you are here to support. And I look forward to moving forward in my last 2 years on this board.
I appreciate those remarks, Angela, and I pledge to work with you. And Mr. Spiegel gave me credit for having a lot of experience. That doesn't make me smarter or superior to anyone, but I volunteered to serve this year because I thought if experience has any value, it helps to navigate through times when, especially when there's new people, and anticipate and avoid and guide us through some problems if they are, recognize them if there are any. And so anyway, that's, I intend to work with all board members and respect everyone equally too.
Mr. President,
Go
to
ahead.
everyone that's here this evening, I want to say thank you for your vote. It was not taken lightly. I appreciate it for you having a vote of confidence to elect me to this position to represent you, the Erie community. And I look forward to working for the next 4 years for the betterment of the Erie City School District.
Anyone else that wants to remark? I think I'll just say one more thing that might be an opportune time to say it. I know I've heard some people express an interest or a curiosity about board committees. I'd like to express my personal experience and feeling, and although I don't want to be unreasonable or inflexible, over the years we have had different board committees. There's two kinds of committees: standing committees, which are would be appointed at the beginning of the year and last through the year, and an ad hoc committee, which is created for a specific purpose for a specific period of time. We've had a little experience with that in the last year with things like, I think, the stadium emblem and several more. My own opinion about standing committees is that sometimes it can breed trouble. Over the years, there have been committees like a finance committee, a personnel committee, a building committee. And when those committees existed, for instance, a building committee, contractors hoping to do work would take that committee to lunch often and call them and submit information and work with them, somewhat leaving the board out. Financial committee, sometimes the same thing with banks, when certainly circumstances were a little different. A personnel committee was a big problem because board members began to interview potential future employees instead of allowing the now Human Resources Office to do that. So the philosophy that I'm affected by is one that I believe means that all of us are equal, all of us have an equal amount of authority. We're 1/9 of a board, and none of us should have access to information or influences that the rest of us don't have. So in a general way, I just want to say that I am a little leery about creating standing committees, but when the need arises for an ad hoc committee, it's necessary and we do it. But having said that, I'm not going to be insistent not to do it, but I could elaborate further on where it sometimes just breeds mistrust, and some board members feel left out or are less effective or have less power. And I just think everyone should have access to the same information and receive it as best as can be done at the same time, so that we're all equal, treated equal, behaving equally, and respecting each other's access. So nothing's perfect, and we're human beings, and we'll work through all that. I just wanted to make that expression, and anybody who disagrees with that and wants to talk to me about it, I'm certainly going to listen. All right, that's enough for me, and I'd call on the superintendent of schools, Mr. Polito, to make some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd also like to welcome the new board members. I look forward to working with all of you on our strategic plan and implementation of our other plans. I also like to congratulate Mr. Harkins and Mr. Titus. I look forward to working with both of you in your new roles as president and vice president. And then also, this is always a good time of year to reflect on where we've been and where we're going. So I do have a few remarks. And for the new board members, I am very brief typically in my remarks, so I'm not going to hold you up very long. But I just want to share out that this is a very exciting time to be part of Erie's Public Schools. With the financial crisis all but behind us, and we are now more than ever focused on improving teaching and learning in our schools. As you know, much of 2018 was spent on planning for our future. We developed an $80 million facilities improvement plan designed to keep our buildings warm, safe, and dry. With extensive feedback from district stakeholders, we also created our student-focused strategic plan, mobilizing community and igniting excellence. And our state-approved financial plan provides us with a blueprint to implement both the facilities plan and the strategic plan while maintaining a balanced budget. Over the past several months, we've shifted from planning to implementation. We've completed over $10 million in building renovations this summer and have another $30 million planned for the upcoming construction season. We expanded pre-K opportunities to all 10 elementary schools. Thanks to the United Way, we have expanded the community schools model to 10 buildings, providing much-needed support to students and families and removing barriers to learning so children can be successful in school. We implemented a curriculum replacement cycle to ensure instructional materials are refreshed on a regular basis. This started this year with elementary math and English language arts curriculums being refreshed, which has not been done in over a decade. For English language arts has been over 16 years, correct, Mrs. Habursky? We implemented a needs-based budgeting formula to provide additional supports and interventions to schools with the greatest need. We partnered with the Erie County Court System, Bethesda, Family Services, and other community agencies to implement a consistent, comprehensive truancy prevention program designed to combat chronic absenteeism and improve attendance. We've expanded electives and career exploration opportunities in our middle schools. We continued the development of career pathways at our high schools to better align classroom instruction with student interests and workforce needs. We created several innovative programs to provide students with multiple pathways to success, including credit recovery, a K-12 blended cyber program, and the Eagles Nest School of Academic Distinction. We launched a comprehensive campaign to encourage charter students to return to our buildings, an effort that included door-to-door visits to hundreds of homes. Additional recruitment efforts will continue in earnest this year as we also focus on retaining our current students. And as a side note, I did check the enrollment numbers today, and our charter enrollment is down 30 students from the start of this school year. So these efforts are working. We should all feel proud in all that we've been able to accomplish in such a short period of time. Of course, we still have a lot of work to do, but I have no doubt that by focusing on our shared goals and continuing to work together as a community, we can fully realize the vision set forth in the strategic plan and making a lasting impact on our community. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Polito. And now the board secretary, Mrs. Jones.
First and foremost, I just want to welcome all of our new board members onto the board and congratulate you once again. If there's ever anything that I can do for you or Alyssa Byler, our assistant board secretary, our office is always open, and we will certainly do our best to take care of whatever it is you need. I want to congratulate John Harkins on his election as board president. I know that the presidency is in very capable hands. And Tyler, I want to congratulate you on being elected as vice president. You've been a joy to work with since you've been elected, and I know you'll do a great job. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just make one other comment. I neglected to mention the solicitor. Mr. Wachter and sometimes Jennifer Gornwall are the two legal people we do the most interaction with, and you new board members will find them to be available, willing, and very capable and helpful. And if you need something specifically, Angela can put you in touch with them, or you can take a chance through the switchboard that you'll get them on your own. But they're very capable and helpful and part of the team too. Just a quick reminder, next week's going to be a very busy week. 5 of us will spend half a day in Grove City. The following day, which is Wednesday, we'll have our first committee of the whole meeting, immediately followed by our first regular board meeting as a new board. And then Saturday, we'll spend most of the day huddled up in an intensive informational session that we tend to do annually called a board retreat. So next week's going to be a demanding week, and hopefully after that we'll get a break for the holidays, but gear up for next week is my message. If there's no other discussion from anyone else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So be it.
Moved by Mr. Spagel.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Feeney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.